This is Don Laskin's Observations When the Rant is Due, brought to you by the Lone Writer Advertising Group, your U.S. outsource resource. This time, Perp Walk, Inc. Note, all quotes in this observation are direct quotes and every situation happened exactly as described. However, except for mine, names have been changed to avoid embarrassment. A courtesy, sadly, that was not extended to yours truly. Now, Perp Walk, Inc. How many times have you wished you said something after it was too late? Well, this time I said it on time, but I'm jumping ahead. I don't know if you read it, heard it, or if you did, you remember it, but a while back I did an observation titled Almost Human. It was about an incident that happened when I was hired by a lady named Meg to work an on-site project. The day the project wrapped over the cubicle wall, I heard somebody asking Meg's boss where she was. He said he didn't know, but referring to me offered, "Ask Meg's person." Having been the object of affection, the object of a sentence, and the object of a search, now I was just a plain old object. Flash forward a year to a new on-site contract. The person I reported to, Anita, was furious I was working on projects for other people in the department, not just for her. So she whipped out a little gem of an email to her boss, the VP Marketing, with this passage, quote, "Is Don working for Tina? I thought that was my resource against my headcount. I will reach out to HR and Finance if that is not the case, and you/Tina will need to generate a new contract and PO to assign the resource to you or Tina. First Meg's person, now Anita's resource, or simply that." Anyway, Meg bought me a book as a parting gift. Anita got me. There I go jumping ahead again. I was Anita's only report, and she wanted to make sure she was the alpha male. Okay, alpha person. With a kid in college, a kid a year away from college, a tanking economy, a nasty credit card balance, and age discrimination in the job market, I was in no shape to take offense at her offensiveness. One time among many was a standout. Now every pay period I turn in a timesheet and invoice to the department's executive assistant, who'd get it signed by Anita or one of the VPs Anita reported to. Then the executive assistant would send it to accounts payable. I should explain the whole signature process was pro forma, because nobody kept track of my hours but me. In any case, my projects got done ahead of schedule and done well, or so I was told. Anita had mentioned in passing that she wanted to sign off on my invoices. Frankly, I didn't give a damn who signed off as long as I got paid, which often required a bunch of calls and emails to accounts payable and anybody else I could think of. One pay period, when Anita came into the office late, the executive assistant had one of the VPs sign. Later that morning, Anita came by to express her feelings at me. In front of everybody in earshot and a couple of people in Cleveland, "Don, didn't I tell you I wanted to sign off on your hours?" Yes, I'll do it next time." "Didn't I tell you last time I wanted to sign off on your hours?" "I'll do it next time." "You said that last time. Didn't I tell you I wanted to sign off on your hours?" "I will next time." "You said that last time. Didn't I tell you I wanted to sign off on your hours?" "I can't do anything about it now. Next time." "You said that last time." "Didn't I tell you I wanted to sign off on your hours?" Everybody was trying to look away from the spectacle, but I'm sure what they were thinking was, what a gutless wonder I was to put up with this. All I could think of was family, and why in hell didn't I go to law school? At last, tiring of the public pillorying, she turned on her heels and left to send an email to accounts payable not to pay me until she reviewed my hours, which she couldn't know because I was the only one who knew how many hours I'd worked. Later in the day, I received an email that she'd approve my hours, which she couldn't know because I was the only one who knew how many hours I worked. Anyway, from the email I mentioned and this incident among many others, Anita, like Meg's boss, had placed me on the evolutionary scale somewhere between a computer mouse and a pencil, the kind with no point, no eraser, and teeth marks. So what happened shouldn't have surprised me, but it did, like a balloon payment to a subprime borrower. The Monday it happened felt different. That morning when I said hi to Jeff, one of the VPs, he gave me kind of a weird look like, "What in hell are you doing here?" But then, when I went to the men's room and looked in the mirror, I always asked the guy staring blankly back at me, "What in hell are you doing here?" I thought the feeling was just a feeling till Anita said to join her in her office. Before I got a toe over the threshold, I knew something was up. You see, my buddy Myrna from HR was already there. But when I sat down across from her, there was no hello, no smile, no nothing. I didn't get it, because just about every morning on my way to get coffee, I'd stick my nose in Myrna's office, and we'd talk about our commutes or kids or just banter. With 2 months left on what had become, with extensions, a 12-month contract, Anita said icily, "Don, we have no more projects for you." With that, Myrna shoved a sheet of paper across the table. There was a look on her face I've seen only on a cat as it played with a mouse before the kill. "Sign this. You'll be paid to the end of the week." I couldn't understand the antiseptic coldness of how they were ending the contract. But 5 days' notice by either party was how it read, so fine. I signed and said something like, "Okay, this Friday's the last day then," and started to get up to go to my cube. "No, you leave today. Now. Return your computer, your keys, your BlackBerry," Anita said in a flat, cold voice. "I don't have a BlackBerry." She looked at a paper and muttered, "Oh, right," or something, then dogged me to my cube. As I removed any personal info from the laptop, she stood over me, a dark eminence, like a buzzard over carrion. I couldn't guess what was going through the minds of the people in the surrounding cubes. Why was Don being treated like this? Must have been something pretty damned heinous, like filch the petty cash or stalk the CEO. Maybe he drilled a peephole in the ladies' room or stashed the lunchroom refrigerator under his coat and made off with it. There had to be a reason for this corporate perp walk, because usually when a contract ends, people just part ways and that's that. With the company owing me too much money for small claims court and not enough for a lawyer, I was afraid to say anything beyond, "You don't have to stand there. I have a computer at home. I'm not going to steal this one." "Company policy," she said, and didn't move. She watched me as I returned the computer to Tom in tech support 2 cubes over. He gave me a sheepish look, shook hands, and wished me luck. I turned to Anita and said, "I'm going to say goodbye to a few people." "No, company policy." What was I going to do, contaminate them? I was livid, but just headed for the front door. When I got there, I stopped. "I want to say goodbye to Jeff." Now, how was I going to contaminate him? He was a VP and had to have been involved in the decision to cut my contract. "No, company policy." From nowhere, Myrna had mysteriously reappeared. I turned to her. "Myrna, you can come with me. I just want to say goodbye to Jeff." Now, I don't know if you ever saw one of those movies. The plot goes like this. 2 boys are neighbors and best friends until the time they go off to their respective universities and lose contact. 10 years later, they meet at the Swiss-German border. One's a Jewish professor who's attempting to spirit his family out of Nazi Germany. The other's an SS officer. Seeing his old friend, the professor dashes out of the line of people waiting to have their papers checked and makes his way over to the SS officer. Immediately recognizing his boyhood chum, he greets the professor with a smug smile on his lips and orders, "Jew, back in line." That kind of look, the kind that was on the SS officer's face, was on Myrna's. She was enjoying this. "No, company policy." Myrna could call it company policy. She could call it anything. But what it was, pure and simple, was a perp walk, exactly like the cops do when they take a guy into a police station in handcuffs and make sure TV cameras are on hand to record every second. The perp walk, designed to embarrass, belittle, and humiliate. I glared at Myrna. I do a superior job, and this is what I get? Suddenly I forgot about the money they owed me. I forgot about the possible consequences. I just heard the low, angry growl aimed at Anita. It was sharp and crude and to the point. "I'm sick of your shit. From the first day, all I ever got from you was shit." And just like what's supposed to happen when you stand up to a bully, happened. Anita turned from an acid-tongued tyrant into a scared, cowering little girl who could only murmur, "Sorry you feel that way." Then, referring to her expertise in marketing and advertising, I added, "You know nothing." Again her response was lame, "Sorry you feel that way." How many times have you wished you said something after it was too late? Well, this time I said it, on time. Epilogue from a VP. A few days later, I received an email from Anita's boss. In it, he commented, quote, "I regret the way Anita handled this matter." Further, he added, quote, "I did ask her to give you plenty of advance notice so you could make arrangements." Then he said, quote, "I will happily act as a reference for you and appreciate the work you have done for us over the past months." So why the corporate perp walk? I don't know. In the debriefing with Marie, my wife, she asked whether this happened to other people. I told her I didn't know, but I sure would like to. So if a corporation ever perp walked you, please email me at lonewriter@comcast.net and tell me your story so that we can use it in a future observation. This is Don Laskin, and that was Don Laskin's Observations, brought to you by the Lone Writer Advertising Group. To get in touch with us, phone 408-406-3574 or email lonewriter@comcast.net. Goodbye and have a great one. Bye-bye.